All right. Hello and welcome to another week of domestic abuse. So, more streaming and drawing and talking and all that. So, it's a rainy day today, so there's not direct sun behind me, so you can actually see behind me and watch all the wet traffic and people without umbrellas walking by. So, that should be another part of the fun. So, a little bit late. Kind of technical problems getting set up, but we're here, and yeah, I don't think live is quite where this is at right now. So enjoy this in the archives, and yeah. So right now, again, we're streaming on both YouTube and Twitch, and that'll be archived in both places. On Twitch as a highlight, and then in the channel, the Abuse Cartoons channel on the YouTube channel. Okay, so yeah, oh, and as promised, here's a little sneak preview today of the amazing condiment technology we'll be talking about, which will probably influence what I draw. And I'm not sure how amazing it is, but it's very Japanese, so I thought I would would share this on stream. But it probably exists now everywhere. I'm sure they've sold it, and it's been internationally patented everywhere. But it amazed me. Yeah, the beard's getting a little out of control. I'm not sure. Winter is over, so I'm going to have to make some decisions about that, too. All right. So, let me get this set up a little bit better. And I still think I don't have the sensitivity fixed on this, but I'm not going to bother you with that right now and open panels, control panels and everything to get that sorted out. I can do that. Again, I just didn't have time before this, but let's see what we're talking about as far as pressure. Yeah, it's okay. I gotta reset that, kind of recalibrate things because it's not exactly what it should be. All right, but let's just get started and do some drawing and talking. So, of course, with the condiments, I can't resist the plastic squeeze bottles that are everywhere. They even have them at the restaurant supply stores in Japan. Yeah, the sensitivity is a little stiff. I might have to go actually a size or two smaller. But it's yeah, so it's funny to see these everywhere, but you don't see them on tables so much. They have a lot of sauces, especially in Osaka, for the various, for your tonkatsu and your takoyaki and everything. A lot of the times that's already applied, but there'll be things on the table. So sometimes they'll use these squeeze bottles, but they'll be for Japanese sauces. So that's funny. And but you'll see them in the yellow and red at the restaurant supply shops. It's just that you don't see them very often on tables. Although I don't go to a lot of diners in Japan, so it's possible, I suppose. Just haven't seen it. But yeah, especially the Kansai area, the western side of Japan, has a lot of sauces for everything. Wow, yeah, things are a little slow. So enjoy that progress bar. So the thing I wanted to talk about today is something that I just kind of had to deal with freelance-wise, and I think it's worth kind of mentioning, just because you're going to have experience with it, or at least have a way to think about it while you're working on your career, while you're kind of getting everything going, and that's kind of negotiating prices. So very often you'll have people, if they know that you're creative or you've worked for them in some capacity before, they'll ask you to do something for them, and you have to kind of decide if that's in your wheelhouse, if that's within your abilities or not. And then the next thing that they're going to hit you with, which you need to be prepared for, is, okay, what do you charge? And usually you want to give them an hourly, sometimes project based, or depending on what it is, but usually they're looking for an hourly price, or maybe total project price, depending on what kind of company it is and what kind of project it is. So be prepared for those sorts of things. And there's places online that you can look these sorts of things up, but it varies so much from region to region. I mean, what a designer is going to charge in San Francisco or New York, commensurate with their insane cost of living, is going to be a lot more than someone that's in the Midwest, that's kind of working remotely. So be aware of that, and also be kind of honest with yourself about what your expenses are and how much your time is worth. I mean, early on, you're not going to want to turn a lot of work down, and so you'll probably be willing to work for a lot less, do a lot more for a lot less. But at a certain point, you're going to have to kind of figure out what your time is worth, and what what you need to make your nut every month, what your expenses are as far as your your rent and utilities and internet and all that good stuff, the stuff that actually keeps you working. So it's worth it to get a ballpark of that. And if you are working already a full-time or a part-time job, be really honest about what kind of hours you have on the weekends or in the evenings about that. And that's not going to, and what's not going to kind of cause you a lot of physical stress and overwork. I mean, you can like push it. You can push yourself for a few nights to kind of wrap something up or whatever, but you shouldn't commit yourself to nights and weekends for a month worth of work, because you're probably going to burn out, and you're probably barely going to survive that, especially if it's a fussy client that's going to keep asking for revisions and things. So you need to be ready for those sorts of things. This is since I updated Photoshop, this is a new thing. So actually grabbing the object, so you don't have to be on the layer that you want to be, which is nice, because I was always layer hunting with older versions. You just need to be over the object itself, and it'll automatically select that layer and let you drag it. So that's a little different than it was before, and I like it, but it took some getting used to, because I usually am pretty sloppy with my well, as you can obviously see, sloppy with my layers and layer naming and everything. So it's a little bit of a relief when especially when doing comps for like game designs and stuff, and you need to make a grid of matching little matching characters or matching gems or something. It's really nice to be able to just drag things around and not have to sort them so much. But yeah, so that's new. That's new in the Photoshop update that I thought I needed to get my tablet working, but it just happened to be Windows' fault completely, and we won't go into that. That made for an ugly stream, I think, last week. I apologize if anybody was incredibly bored or traumatized by me going on and on about that. Wait a minute. I think I'm gonna have to. Yes, it's another thing I need to keep better control of is my settings. So I'm using So I've got a Japanese keyboard with English input, and now Windows lets you select what kind of keyboard you're using, but there's some keyboard combination that jumps you to another setting. And so luckily, or unfortunately, I keep doing that to myself. I keep jumping to the US English keyboard, which I don't have. I have a English Japanese layout keyboard. And if you don't know, I don't know if I can get this up here. If you don't know the strange thing, so not only can you input do Japanese input, so you can switch between katakana and romaji, and do there's an app built into Japanese Windows that lets you search kanji, that lets you write out. So you're basically writing phonetically and then searching for the characters you want to use. But look at that space bar. That's the worst part of Japanese keyboards is, I guess, because you don't put a lot of spaces between words, because you're constantly selecting and re-choosing groupings of characters, so you don't use the space bar quite as much, and so you've got a space bar that's literally the width of 3 normal keys. So it's easy to miss, and then everything around it is just going to knock you into different character sets and different settings. So yeah, that's a bit of a frustration, but I need to be able to have, to do form entries and things. I need to be able to input Japanese at certain times, and you absolutely can't do that well with the English layout keyboard. And I don't think it even recognizes it. It won't trigger the kanji selection and stuff. But yeah, that's a little bit of a frustration, is this freaking space bar they have on these keyboards. So I miss that quite often, and then switch myself into other settings. So a little bit about my trials and tribulations. All right. Oh, okay. So back to the pricing thing. So figure out what you're worth and what your time is worth, and what you need, and be honest too with how good of a project this is. How good it's going to look in your portfolio, or how good how much it's going to help you get other work, or if you see this person that you're doing work for as somebody that you could be potentially doing a lot of, this is real heavy-handed, be doing a lot of work for in the future. It's definitely worth to put in something extra for that, but be really careful that you don't, let me get into the lasso here, be really careful that you don't make that a habit, because you're gonna, oh, okay. Hold on a second, because okay, are we there? Yes, we are there. All right. Because I've even had teachers, instructors tell me when I was in school, that's how you get work. That's what you do. You just, get together with your friends that are all doing animation, and you just get these ridiculous jobs that pay garbage, but will give you good experience, and you just keep pulling all-nighters and lowballing everybody else to get the work. And I guess that's an approach to take. And when you've got the energy and the time, when you're young, I guess that that's a quick way to building some experience and a portfolio, but it's certainly going to make you miserable. And then if you get stuck in that mindset of always undervaluing yourself because you want to get the work, then you're going to have a pretty miserable future, I think, with your freelance. And right away when you do that, you're kind of guaranteeing that you're not going to have a lot of future with that particular client unless they really, really like your work and are going to be able to accept like a pay increase, like on the next project or the next stage of something. So, along with, well, you got the work and you have the portfolio now, you also, that's what they think you're worth. You've kind of, stuck yourself into that price range, and they think you're a bargain. And if you work really fast, then they think you're fast, and that's not always a good place to be, because you can actually get yourself in a difficult situation where more and more work is coming in, but it's not actually paying for your time, and you're going to be pretty miserable trying to justify that, and then eventually ruin your relationship with that client, because you're going to get frustrated that you're not getting paid enough. They're not going to understand why you're unhappy, and then it's just going to be the end of things. But as far as negotiating that price, so back to when I said how much do you charge? That's the real common question. How much do you charge? And usually that's an hourly. and you can kind of look that thing up. And I think they even have regional, regional modifications for that. You can, look up, freelance illustration in Nebraska and probably get a rate for, what people charge, closer to that cost of living and everything. And what you want to be careful of. So know, kind of how much, what kind of the going rate is for that, how much you would like to make doing that, and then give them a number. And you should always, start much higher, just like any negotiating, start higher. I mean, this is your dream price. If they just said yes to this, it would be great. It would be more than enough to pay for your time, better than you've made, higher than you've made in previous work, and just, really the ideal number. So start high, and but at the same time, not ridiculous, especially if you haven't shown them, a huge amount of experience or a big portfolio or anything. If they know you're fairly new to this and you highball them in this ridiculous way, then there's a very good chance they're just going to say, okay, well, we'll think about it. So we'll keep you in mind. Thanks. You're going to get that kind of brush off if you make the mistake of going too high. So have some idea what the market can bear, and also have some idea of kind of the means of the client and the company that you're dealing with, because some clients don't mind billing ridiculous amounts for things that may not ever become finalized projects or anything. And other companies are very, very sensitive to that, and every dollar is very important. But maybe they also have some, some prestige, or there's some, some brand value or something to working for them, and it'd be good for your portfolio. So it would be worth, taking their lower price. Yeah. So as they say, like as the saying goes, the first person to name a price or to say a number loses, and that's usually why you want to kind of prevent that. You want to do everything you can to kind of mitigate that damage, because as soon as you say 25 an hour, I guess, then that's it. That's who you are. And if that's outrageous, they're going to push you down from that. If that, if they figure that's going to end up being too much, or if they were expecting you to say 50 or 150 or whatever, and you say 25, then that's it. You're locked in both ways. You're either not affordable or you are a sucker, so you really want to be as close to that sweet spot as possible. So a little bit higher than maybe they wanted, but not outrageous, and definitely not, low enough to get the job. And to be competitive, because if they're looking at multiple people, that's your competition. That's who you have to deal with. And so keeping those things in mind as far as naming your price, that's always a tricky thing. And you're going to make mistakes. Don't feel bad about that part of it, because everybody ends up in that situation, and sometimes chokes, sometimes, misreads a situation and ends up just exactly on the wrong end of something, asking for too much, not showing enough to them, and kind of confusing them by having, big demands as far as, your per hour. So, and it just takes experience, and also, working with someone that has that experience, is good too. To watch somebody, be an assistant for somebody and watch somebody get a job and how they did it, and kind of what they had to go through, and, their kind of tactics for negotiation, I think is always a useful thing to learn, from people that have done it before. And then it's not so painful too. If you watch somebody else make a mistake and make less money than they wanted to, it's not so frustrating when it's, yourself. But if you can get, into a position where you can be an assistant, or, work in a supporting way for somebody, it's worth learning all of that stuff. And along those lines too, never, undervalue that kind of networking, social aspect of things. Doing things for other people is a really useful way to get work in the future, because they're going to remember you and have nice thoughts about you as far as, when you were working together, and it's going to, turn out to, okay, we're choking on something again. And it's going to turn out to, get you work in the future. So don't get that disease where you're fakely nice to everybody because of the potential of them getting you some kind of work. But, the people that are in your same business, the people that can help you out, make yourself as helpful to them as possible, because it does affect your career. But at the same time, I mean, I really think that part, I mean, there's a lot of moving parts involved in that, but the recent Me Too movement and people dealing with harassment and people that have known about harassers and have, they've already got on the inside, they've already gotten the work, they've already done the hard part of, resisting the bad behavior of other people, and then they don't protect people coming up. And that's a weird, I don't mean to get so far off the subject, but I mean, that's a really weird thing. I think people need to not be so focused on their career at the expense of other people, of letting other people get themselves into difficult situations. I mean, just because you made it already doesn't mean that you should watch other people, make those same kind of mistakes. And that's when, you'll really know the good people that you meet in any business, because they are going to be the ones that are going to stop you and give you good advice and really help you make good decisions and not make stupid, easy mistakes. I mean, that was the thing. I think it happened on an annual basis when I would go to San Diego Comic Con, and I talked to Shannon Wheeler when he was, before he was a New Yorker cartoonist, and when he was doing his books, I would always go over and chat with him, because we also met at the Independent Ape show in San Francisco. And I always had done something stupid or made some mistake that he was always really straightforward with saying, yeah, don't do that, or why are you doing this? No, don't be like that. And that was great. It's great to have somebody that is not, he wasn't worried about my reaction to any of that, and I think he was just didn't want to see me making real rookie mistakes. And it was nice. It was nice to have somebody be able to do that for you, to just kind of kind of in a mentory kind of way, just say, no, don't put your URL on your t-shirts. That was one of the things that I remember doing, that he's like, what don't people don't want to buy your website address. Yeah. So that was a nice a nice thing for him to do, because I wasn't really on track with how I should be promoting myself at that time. So so those sorts of things are great, and those sorts of people are really great, and it's definitely worth having as many of those in your life as possible, to kind of keep you honest, and kind of keep you making good decisions and moving your career forward. Because it's real easy to get sidetracked and do stupid things and end up slowing yourself down. I was dreaming this was going to be a much nicer looking hot dog. It's kind of a corn dog thing, but it's not looking very good. I don't think the speckles aren't exactly what I want. Maybe just a more subtle version. Yeah, maybe something like that. And then back here. Huh? Oh, no. Wrong color. But, but you're going to make mistakes, and just make them and get past them. that kind of stuff, because that's the only way to keep yourself from doing it again. That's how you learn. And sometimes it's expensive. You know, sometimes you'll print something or do something stupidly and you can't get it refunded, and you've made a really stupid, simple mistake, and just deal with it, typos and things like that, and just kind of, use that to motivate you to, proof things harder, edit things better, be more of a perfectionist next time. I'm talking about like self-publishing and like, preparing your own work. That's the, where a lot of that frustration comes in, when you're doing it all and you make those kind of rookie mistakes. But yeah, so know what you're worth, name your price, and just kind of stick to it. And that should give you the the best results. And you don't always have to be honest with the clients you're dealing with, because they don't want to hear your sob stories and your situations and whatever is affecting your decisions to do things. But definitely be honest with yourself and what you're worth, and don't let kind of your self-doubt or people questioning your abilities or whatever get you to lower your price. Just kind of figure out what you need to make, what you're worth, and stick to it. And if you don't get the work, you don't get the work. There's always more work, and there's always more clients. So don't feel bad about that. And in a lot of cases, those jobs that you don't take because they were lowballing you are probably a lot of heartache that you avoided, because a lot of the times the people that are going to play with you about your prices a lot are also going to be the most demanding clients you've ever had, and just make your life absolutely miserable. So always be ready for that. Maybe this can go here. Yeah, and you never know. And you just have to have a few great, work with a few great people to support yourself. Oh, wait. Take this off. What? I'm still... Oh, I guess so. I guess that has to go up there, and I'll have to color it. All right. So... there we go. Do something like that, and then put a little bit of highlight on it to get across that it's shiny, wet condiments. All right, and a little shadow under that. I said little. Okay, there we go, the condiment. Go down, maybe not. Yeah, my lines are much thicker, so already with my little no calibration, the line quality of this cartoon has changed. So that'll be another historic date. The time where I fixed the driver for the tablet and it screwed everything up. All right, there we go. So condiments on my mind. Condiments and getting paid, or negotiating a price, on my mind. Okay, so intermission, I guess, between the cartoons. Let's take a look at this. So this is tomat and what is it? Arabiki mustard. Yep. So it's mustard, coarse mustard. So a lot of so you can see the seeds, right? So a lot of Japanese words, or when they coin or try to come up with a name for foreign things, there's a lot of sounds that come into the words. So arabiki is the I guess that onomatopoeia, like a lot of things, like, you know, doki doki and things like that, like that are sounds, but, you know, mean something. They have a meaning. So the sound is an adjective, or, you know, the word has a meaning. And I guess arabiki is the sound of biting into a sausage. Arabiki is the skin, you know, kind of the popping skin on like a European sausage. So that's the sound. So meaning that this coarse mustard that has the seeds in it, the yellow mustard with the seeds, is the mustard for sausages. And so, you know, for if you get a hot dog on a stick, or, you know, sausage roll or whatever, this is what they're going to give you, probably the ketchup and arabiki mustard. The I guess we call it brown mustard. Yeah, no, brown mustard is that sometimes that white wine French mustard. Ugh, I don't know, but yeah, the mustard with the seeds in it, the golden mustard, goldens. I don't know if it's brown mustard, but in Japan they call it arabiki mustard, and you know, tomato ketchup, tomat, and so this amazing blister pack. I'm sure these exist everywhere now, so whatever. But they hand these out by the handfuls when you buy, you know, things like hot dogs on a stick, which they picture on the back here. And basically what this is a blister pack that cracks in the middle, and you can see there's like fluting on the top. So here we go. You break it in the middle like that, and you get a perfect, almost perfect combination of ketchup and mustard on your sausage or your finger, whichever you choose. So maybe these these exist in other places, but I have not. I've not seen these so much as I do in Japan, because it's very convenient. You know, you're holding your sausage and you just squeeze this onto it, and you get a mix of two condiments instantly on there, and it's wonderful. So that is a little Japanese condiment technology, little culture exchange for the intermission today. So I hope that was exciting, and I hope you enjoyed the finger condiment for today. So there's a huge variety. In Japan, they have what they call karashi, and then they have mustard. And mustard is usually the lighter yellow mustard, or like this arabiki style, the coarse, you know, just ground with the mustard seeds visible. I guess not strained or whatever style. And the spicy, the karashi for the like butaman or the nikuman, the big dumpling things. It's pretty spicy. It's that kind of sharp mustard, like sharp vinegary mustard spice, and then the yellow mustard is, you know, much less. So a lot of the Chinese dishes and things, they'll give you the spicy Chinese mustard, and then for more Western sausages and stuff, they give you the yellow mustard or that brown coarse mustard. So there you go. Now you know what to do when you see that little package. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You have to be able to read the directions. It has little pictures of just do this, and you'll be able to figure it out. But there we go. I shared with you an exciting condiment dispenser that maybe is, I don't know, is exclusive to Japan. I don't know. I don't remember ever seeing that, but I'm sure if anybody has come here and found that, or if they use those at baseball games or whatever, that they've made their way. I'm sure people at American baseball stadiums are doing that same thing right now with little combination packets. But yeah, Japan loves that convenience and that design. They're very much into convenience and solving a problem. There's so many little things, and if you've gone to any of the 100 yen, Japanese dollar stores, you've seen that they'll make little widgets and rubber things and pen stands and things to solve problems. People have little convenience problems or things that they, I wish I had some place I wish there was some way to stick this here, and they'll make that. They'll make a little foot with a little piece of adhesive, and so if it's a common problem that people are trying to address, they're real problem solvers. So, and a lot of Japanese people will say that they're not, there's not a lot of original things in Japan, but there's a lot of perfected things. Like Japan will take in things from other cultures, and then they'll make their Japanese version, the kind of improved version, kind of like what they did with the automobile. They made it work for Japan. They made it small and fuel efficient, because to get fuel to an island, to get gasoline to an island, is so much more expensive. The cars needed to be small because the roads are narrow, and they need to be very fuel efficient because gas is so expensive here. And they also need to last a long time, so they are just precisely well made, and they have that value. So, they didn't invent the automobile here, but they, did a lot to make it work really well for their purposes. And so, yeah, the real problem solvers and innovators in a lot of the, commercial, industrial kind of thing. So this kind of thing is one of those answers, instead of those, foil packets where you're tearing the side and then you're squeezing the packet and, trying to hold things or set the hot dog on your lap or whatever. So this is just a, convenient one-handed, quick solution to putting condiments on a hot dog one-handed. So there we go. So now I have no idea what I'm doing. I was all about the ketchup and the mustard. Yeah, for the first cartoon, but yeah, the second part I'm not sure what to do. So I'm seeing a lot of people without umbrellas today. That was pretty sad, I guess. Yeah, it was pretty gray out, but a lot of people skipped that. And it's funny too, I've had Japanese people say that they see Western people, they see foreigners, and especially when they visit foreign countries, walking around, like maybe America or North America specifically, is a less worried about getting wet, less umbrella culture. Like, people don't carry umbrellas everywhere if it's not going to be a crazy downpour. So people just walk in the rain, and Japanese people think that's pretty funny because, you get crazy torrential, sudden torrential downpours in Japan. So carrying an umbrella, especially around the rainy season, the month of June, the rainy season time, is very important, because you won't just get a little wet. You will be, you will look like you jumped in a lake if you get hit with one of these like 2-minute torrential downpours in the rainy season. So yeah, so that's a funny thing that they noticed, that some Western people don't seem so bothered to just walk in the rain because they don't think anything of it, but they don't have the kind of rain that you have in the Pacific Islands. So that's funny. So let's see. Yeah, the scale of things I've been doing has been pretty small recently. Sorry, I'm slouching out of frame. But yeah, I guess I just haven't had any big ideas. So what else? I just draw and think at the same time. But yeah, the sensitivity. I'm getting really tempted to open that panel. Yeah, sensitivity is just not what I need it to be. All right. So yeah, so if you have any thoughts or questions about what I was talking about, as far as like, naming your price and getting getting a good price for your work, please put them in the comments or yell them out in chat. I guess those would show up in the chat as well. But I think that's an important discussion, and I think just people sharing their experiences. Of course, my experience is probably going to be different, especially because I was working at a very different time than now, and a lot less digital and things before. But I think it's valuable to share that experience, because even out-of-date information, oh my God, I can't believe I just admitted that. Even being a little bit of out of date, you're still going to have some valuable insight or things that may be able to inform newer, younger situations. And yeah, it's just always important to share. And it may have no relevance. Like a lot of things that I've said on this stream may not be applicable to a lot of things that people are doing, because I'm not, sorry, wait. Oh, sorry. I'm not particularly dealing with fandoms, and I've been just doing shows in Japan. I haven't been doing American conventions, so I've lost a little bit of practice, with what the expectations are and what people are dealing with in those situations. So keep that in mind. But I think things that I have gone through or do know about, I think there's still some interesting, relevant things there that may just drawing fruit that may help, and it's always good to test those things out and find out if I'm wrong, and feel free to let me know, because I think a great part about creative work is sharing, sharing the information and sharing the experience, because it does help you get through it a lot easier if you don't feel completely alone in all the abuse and self-doubt, that's kind of part of the job. Abuse. Okay, I don't know if I'm going to do fruit, but there's some fruit. Yeah. What else? That's pretty big fruit. Oh, another interesting thing to keep in mind. So when you draw something at a certain resolution, another thing that Photoshop can do, which is very convenient, is kind of non-destructive editing. So doing something that's not going to create damage. Oh, no, I'm not going to remember where this is because I don't know where it is in this new version. Oh boy. Convert. There we go. Smart objects. So just like you have layer effects and things that are non-destructive that you can turn on and off that don't actually edit the pixels, that you're doing in Photoshop. For a while now, they've had smart objects, and smart objects kind of keep a copy of this original version of your art at the resolution you drew it at. And so when you edit it and do things to it, you're not changing the original drawing. So I've chosen this apple, and you can convert to a smart object. And so you'll see that it's got that little icon now in the corner. But what that means is I've preserved the resolution of that. So if I do this and then do this and do this, it's not going to keep resampling those pixels and then give you blurry, strange, jaggedy, jagged edges. And from resampling, you're not going to be resampling. It's going to always be using that original resolution and never alter that. So that's always there. So as long as you're not going, larger than your original size, of course, then it's going to have to resample up because it's only using the smart object is based on that original resolution, that original size. But that's a really good thing if you fuss around a lot with placement of things and how things should fit in a composition, in composition in the frame on your drawings. That's probably a really good thing to do. Then you won't make that mistake of big, small, big. Oh no, you've totally destructively edited something by resizing it. And especially if you have like a full colored object or something, you're gonna have to go back to the original source and bring it back in if you're doing compositions or layouts or something. So smart objects are pretty useful for keeping you from making resizing mistakes, and also for editing. So I think then any effect or anything that I apply to this from now on is going to be held on a layer effect. So let's try that. So if I do Gaussian blur on this apple, there you go. And you'll see, smart filters. So it's a smart object, and so you apply smart filters to it. So all the filters then that you apply to it are held. The original version of that object is still held, and the filter is then, just like with a blending option, is something that exists on top of it, and you can turn on and off. You can turn all of the filters on and off, or just specific filters that you've applied, but you're not applying anything directly to that bitmap. The bitmap is still preserved, so you can turn off all the filters, and there's the original version of it as you had before. So non-destructive editing is the big power of Photoshop. Of course, holding these original sizes of things is it's going to make bigger file sizes. And I think PSDs have nice compression and manage things pretty well. But if you've got a lot of objects and a lot of large resolution things that you're saving as smart objects and resizing them down, you're going to end up with big file sizes. But non-destructive editing. So along with that is, masking. So masking is another form of non-destructive editing. So for example, we're looking at this orangey thing. So if I just quickly add the layer mask, so now I have two, in this layer I should be making this bigger if I'm going to demonstrate this stuff, but now I have a mask, and a mask you can draw on with black and white, and white is showing everything, black is hiding things, and so I'm taking black and I'm drawing over the image itself, and that's masking it. It's like when you're doing airbrushing or spray effects, and you use tape to mask things off, so things that you don't want to touch. So you're creating a mask layer of things that you can kind of block out. So if I don't want you, like I'm putting it in a basket and I want to cut those edges off so that it fits against the edge of the basket right here. You can mask things, but I haven't actually edited any of those pixels. It's actually just the mask layer. So if I disable that mask layer, the original thing is still there. I'm just kind of covering on top. I'm creating a mask that's eliminating, it's creating transparency, or whatever I want to do to block out parts of that bitmap. And so that's a useful thing to do when you want to do non-destructive editing. You want to keep something like you're placing a head somewhere on a body, and you want to cut the edit along the jawline, and if you don't trust your touch, or you're not sure how much you should do it non-destructively with masks. And then masks also, you can use blending of black and white and gradations and things to kind of feather and gradually blend things together, and also in a non-destructive way. So if I enable that mask layer that's back there again, and then I can also either delete or apply that mask layer, and I can even turn the mask that I've made on this object into a selection that I can use for something else. So masking is very useful, non-destructive editing as well. So smart objects and masking. So look that up and learn how to do that, because the last thing you want to do is work on a wonderful layout or a wonderful piece of art and not be able to make important changes, especially when you've got idiot clients that are saying, "Can you move that up? Can you make that 30% bigger?" And you say, "No, I can't, because that's the only resolution that I have it at. If I make it bigger, then it resamples and it will be all blurry." So, those sorts of things are important to keep in mind. The power of Photoshop is its non-destructive editing. And at any time you can, delete layer masks or convert smart objects back into bitmaps. So it's always non-destructive, and you can always back out of it. You can always change the state from non-destructive to completely destructive and reckless and mindless. But yeah, so those are very useful tools if you don't know them. And again, this is like super beginner stuff, so I apologize for people that are like, yeah, I've been doing that for years. But yeah, fun and useful. All right. Fruit, I don't know. Fruit. I'm not sure. Sugar packet. Yeah, maybe just like everywhere else in the world, the courier and delivery jobs in Japan have become absolutely miserable, with this big advent of so many people shopping online, and what are those called, those little buttons that Amazon makes, those quickie thing, those little wireless buttons you stick somewhere, and you don't have toilet paper, you push the toilet paper button and then toilet paper shows up at your house. I mean, people are using gasoline and carrying up and down steps and hills, especially here, little mountains people have to climb to bring you your package of toilet paper. It's pretty crazy, the kind of abuse that online retailers are giving the the courier systems, and having those deals where they're getting very cheap, because to make that work, they have to have very cheap shipping and be able to have free delivery and things with Prime and whatever. Yeah, I shouldn't be naming anybody, but yeah, it's ridiculous, and it's made a lot of people's jobs completely miserable. Am I doing fruit and sugar packets? I don't know. But So if there's anything else you'd like to see demonstrated on this stream that I can acquire in Japan, let me know. I'll show you how to break bamboo chopsticks apart and all those good things. Actually, I think those are all pine or balsa wood, maybe like balsa wood. Yeah, they're very light wood. The ones that are attached, the bamboo chopsticks usually aren't attached together. That's been a recent thing too. Are there any around you? Ah, look at this. Look, oh no, these are the old style. But I'll demonstrate that at some time eventually, and help you with the etiquette, because I think people that have watched Blade Runner and things think they need to do this with their chopsticks because it looks so cool and you look so cultured, but actually that's pretty stupid and pretty insulting and makes you look like the barbarian you are. But anyway. So let's take this apple down a little bit. This smart apple. Oh, okay. Smart apple. Yeah, I guess I can go with this. Just not sure how funny it is. Oh, that's right, so the lemon is here. Okay. Oh, I was just frustrated. It doesn't make any sense either. I guess second season of Westworld has just started on American cable, and Hulu in Japan had an HBO channel, and they had all of a lot of shows, and it's all gone now. So I don't know if HBO had a limited contract. Now they want it all on their Go service or whatever exclusively. But yeah, Westworld is gone. Just so if you wanted to catch up and kind of watch the first season before the start of the second season, too bad it's not on there. So I'll have to check the Amazon to see if that's where it went. Yeah, but I'm just, these streaming services and their little, it's just ridiculous. And then to hear that now there's going to be a Disney, exclusive streaming service thing, just whatever. I don't know how many subscriptions, and I think that's part of the thing is kind of being a brand bully, and knowing that you're Disney, and if you put all your kids' animation on one service, you're probably gonna get subscriptions away from places that are already doing a lot of kids programming and pretty good kids programming. You're gonna get subscriptions away from them just because of your brand, and that's a shame that kind of nonsense is going on. But that we're suffering all of that. We're suffering all of these garbage decisions, these garbage corporate decisions. What is that, an orange? Yeah, I guess it's an orange. Looks like a weird Japanese citrus, but I'm going to call it an orange. But yeah, just like what I was complaining about with the with Windows and things, which I'm not going to go into. We're just suffering while these idiots negotiate their nonsense and try to get their bonuses and things by making these brilliant decisions about, what we can and can't have access to, or, how things are going to be accessible. It's nonsense. But okay, there we go. Those are filled, and we will add some maybe not bright white, but a very light yellow for the rind. Is that the rind? That white stuff. I think so. All right, something like that. And maybe some writing. It's blue, right? I don't know. It's been so long since I've actually seen a packet of this stuff, the pink stuff. I don't even know if people use that anymore, but it's like my image of fake sugar is always the pink stuff. All right, and maybe a little scribble in the middle. Now let's take this down. So it just looks like it's barely printed on that paper. All right, and maybe yeah, above the shade layer, we'll put the white shiny layer of citrus sections. Goes all the way around. And everybody gets some of these shiny dots. I guess the apple will get a big one. All right. And now some shading. All right. Huh. Oh, those are big. Yeah, the pressure is a little wacky on this tablet. It's kind of unpredictable. Gotta get that fixed, but not on your time, not on valuable streaming time. All right. Then a little white. Edge of the apple, edge of the orange. You're not going to see it on the lemon, but still, it's there. Okay. And then little shadows to keep them on the ground. Yeah, the packet's pretty big, isn't it? Ah. Isn't it? Well, I want it to be kind of, oh no, what's going on? There we go. Identifiable, so we'll try it. Artificial sugar? Yeah, I don't want to, that is pretty gigantic. Okay, so let's try. Here's a fun trick. So, what is that like? It's like an automatic merge. So all visible layers can be merged. So, what is that? Control Shift Alt E merges everything to a top row. So you see everything is there. Now, what I can do, apart from turning that back on, now what I can do is if I make this the only, oh, let's go back and turn that layer back on, make this the only visible level layer. Then I can make some decisions about this. Excuse me. I was waiting for that. What about a 10-minute delay there? Okay, so I can pull this out. Now it's all colored and flattened on its own layer, and then kind of give it a little bit of a better scale. Yeah, much smaller. Wow. Okay, and then turn these layers back on. Yeah, there we go. And now for the eyes. The windows to the sadness. All right. Okay, pondering. Naturally sweet things, pondering artificially sweet things. Oh, there's not eyes on the little packet. Oh, and there's not going to be pressure sensitive eyes. There we go. Whoop. Move these around a little bit. No, let's not do that. Okay. And now maybe all of this can stand to move up a little. Be more centered. Along with our joyful hot dog. Yeah. It's not a great composition, but it's funny. Funny looking. Okay. So now the writing begins. And I'm sure I'm going to have some edits. I already saw one. I already saw something I missed. So as soon as I start, every time, as soon as I start thinking about writing, I find stuff that I want to correct on the drawings to procrastinate from. Maybe we won't do that. From finishing the drawings. Okay, so the condiment theme today. Oh, sorry about that. Mic on cam. Let's do this. I was thinking about collaborative work, so their best work was always collaborative. Something like that. Oh, that's right. And the spell check. Oh gosh, I miss you so much. Is it in a menu now? Language options. East Asian features. You can just select that and instantly your drawing will have East Asian features. No. Yeah, I can't believe they took that completely out. Yeah, I'm sure it was had a terrible dictionary and was a garbage spell check, but oof, I need that. Guess I'm just going to be typing more things into a browser. Double L. Oh, it's so depressing. See, they give you something and they take something away. Let's see. Let's see. Would you like to watch me look up the spelling of words? That is the excitement you will find on this channel. Okay. Double L. All right. That's what we got here. Their best work was always collaborative. Okay. Okay, and something simple. Oh, something about the artificialness. Let's see. Haven't even checked to see how we're doing here. Looks like we're okay in a couple of different places. All right. Great. Oh, and that's interesting. Yeah, finally Twitch remembered to mute. Usually that's what I'm turning off, is Twitch. As soon as I start streaming, then Twitch is on my speakers. Okay, so artificially sweet. What are we thinking here? Okay, they began. Oh, with already. They began to suspect his sweetness was fake. That's not even funny. They began to suspect his sweetness was false. False sense of sweetness. Let's see. He portrayed. A sense of something. How do you give a sense? He gave them all a false sense of sweetness. Okay, it just passed the stupid laughing at myself test. So is that what we're going with? He gave them all a false sense of sweetness. Sure, that's funny-ish. Yeah. I don't know. Okay. He gave them all a false sense of sweetness. And oh, sorry, yeah, you're not even seeing that. So one more size down. Yeah. There we go. Gave them all a false sense of sweetness. I have to remember to do that because you can't see that. And their best work was always collaborative. Yeah, even when I size it down, you can't see it, so I apologize for that. I gotta rework. I'm sure there's better places to put my stupid head, so maybe in the upper left, and then you can see the joke as I'm writing it. Yeah, that might be better. I'll consider that. It's it's an easy thing to change, so I'll consider doing that for the next time. All right, so here we are. Our two cartoons. Their best work was always collaborative, and he gave them all a false sense of sweetness. Artificial sweeteners. Okay, so those are the cartoons for this week. So thank you. How did we do here? Oh, just over an hour. Hour and 10, but I guess I was a little late getting on. It took a few minutes, so we're still over an hour. So thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed that, and remember your arabiki mustard, and see if you can find something as amazing as that. And who knows, next week I'll have chopsticks or some little a little spoon you assemble to eat your yogurt with. There's all kinds of crazy things here to enjoy. So thanks again, and we'll be here next week. So please tune in. I don't know. Please watch, and if you'd like to follow the cartoon, it's on Twitter at Abuse Cartoons. The website is abusecartoons.com, and Abuse Cartoons on YouTube and Twitch and all those places where you'll find these videos, and you must have found them already. And if you would like to see this as a daily thing, the return to daily abuse, please consider supporting the Patreon. So patreon.com/abusecartoons, and there's signed books, original art, all kinds of things for you to check out as a patron. So please take a look and consider that, because I would love nothing more than to be able to do this as a daily cartoon again. That was my original intent, and the thing that I enjoyed the most about this being a thing. And yeah, so we will see you again. I will, me only. I don't know why I keep saying we. I will see you again next week, and I will show you something else and teach you another word and complain about technology and my various medical conditions and whatever. No, I feel old the more that I talk. Okay, and I will see you then. So, goodbye.